Hello and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Video Mastermind, where we bring you professionals who share insight into the latest trends, tips, industry, technology, and services to help you create more videos to use in your mortgage business. Well, hey there, happy Friday. This is Mel, and we are live with another episode of our Mortgage Video Mastermind. Hello, boys. Happy birthday, Mr. Carl White.
Birthday boy. You look another year younger today.
You know, it's just a knack that I have. What can I say? You know, it's just if I have one more person to mistake me for Brad Pitt, I think I'll jump off a cliff.
Well, and you had a huge accomplishment. 102 point what something miles?
102.4 miles on. So I said a bike, and a lot of people said, well, that's not that many miles on your Harley. I go, oh no.
Oh yeah.
Bicycle.
This was a pedal bike with no engine on it. So even though around 80 miles or so, I was looking for that pull start on this thing somewhere, you know. So
yeah, no kidding.
At least a hill.
Yeah. Well, huge accomplishments. Congratulations. Happy birthday. And you're up for 103 miles next year.
Yeah. Well, at first I went, all right, next year I'm going to do 125. Right. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Then the year after it'd be a 150 in the year. Okay, wait, let's be a little bit more gentle on future Carl. So let's do 103, which would be more. But yeah, that's the plan. And I got a message back from Alan and Scott, said that they're going to join me. So the three of us are really looking forward to it.
I'm all for it.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, I would join you. The most I've ever done is 50 miles on a bicycle, but I've done 160 miles on the back of a horse, which took us 9 days. So
wow.
That I would do too.
Different kind of sore, I can tell you that. But we're not here to talk about that today. So of course we're joined by our every Friday guest, Scott Schang. Scott, thanks for joining me on this. But we have a very special guest today that I want to spend a lot of time with, and that is Alan Christian out of Roswell, Georgia.
Yep, glad to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Places. I'm falling in love with Georgia every time I go there. So it's a wonderful, wonderful place. But thanks for hopping on. And I'm going to actually let Scott introduce you, because Scott is very familiar with your work. I'm familiar with your work, but Scott is very familiar with your work and what you've done. So Scott, I'll let you kind of do the tee it up, and I'm going to put Frazier in the room here because I see he just hopped on. Jason.
What's up? How's everyone doing?
Jason is actually probably the one to tee it up. I only recently discovered Alan through an event that Frazier put on, and quite frankly, what struck me as being amazing about what Alan did is he didn't stress out a lot about production value, about planning. A lot of his content was very spontaneous, and it was very much focused on how do I empower and engage the consumer and the community. It was very community based. Like Frazier always calls him the mayor of Roswell. Yeah. And his story was just absolutely fascinating. And I found out that there was an equally fascinating and amazing person behind the story. And I can't get enough of him. So Frazier, you tee up where you came from. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I mean, you hit it right on the head. So Alan's a good friend of mine here. He actually was crucial in getting me moved out here to the Atlanta area here in Georgia, and I live in Alpharetta, so just down the street from Alan. But a good friend of mine. We're both coaches at Next Level, and just a great story as a loan officer that was afraid to do video, wasn't ever going to do video, and decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to execute. I'm going to do all these videos. I'm going to do it. And his life and his business has changed for the better since he started doing that. So it's not like some guy that's like, hey, I did videos and I'm doing loans. It's like, no, mortgage broker, in the trenches, loan officer. I'm going to add this extra tool to do that. And it's changed everything, being recognized by BombBomb, speaking at conferences now, just everything else as a true practitioner of his craft. So Alan Christian, take it away, my friend.
Appreciate that. I do have to say this real quick commercial. Carl, I was in Freedom Club, and I remember you promoting video for so long, and I kept hearing it and needed to do it. And there's so many things that I say do is exact things that I have learned directly from you. You have made such an unbelievable impact on my life and my career. And whenever this thing clicked, I still look back and say, and I do think this, Carl White's like one of the coolest guys that I've ever met. I mean, when he talks to you, there's nobody else in the room. It's just you and Carl. And he makes you feel great and just feel like, you matter. And that's a lot of what I do, truly. So I wanted to just say thank you for all that you've done.
Well, see, I swiped all my stuff from Frazier, Ginger, and Scott. So
That's great.
That's how all this works. So good to see you, my brother.
Yeah. Shared, not swipe.
Well, when I don't have much of a background, but when I started doing video, I was very scared about it, and I was frozen, but I just knew I needed to do it. And I went out to a Bomb event. They had a huge event. I went out there and I saw these people up on stage talking what they were doing, and some of them had polished, some of them had very just raw from their phone. And just realized this is something that I can do. I need to do this. And I came back home, and like the very next day when I got into the office, I had a little webcam, didn't have anything special. I did have the Bomb app, and I shot 53 videos the next day. And I just literally, the biggest thing I learned was don't go back in and rewatch it. It doesn't matter. Just have it conversational, like you're talking to somebody directly in front of you, and let it fly. And once I got through that one day, that was the break. And then I started just kind of doing one-to-one with clients, started doing a little bit in the community, started sending out, happy birthday videos, happy closing videos. Hey, you matter and you're special to me videos. And a couple of months later, all of a sudden I started getting all these phone calls, and people would see me in the community and they come up to me like, oh my gosh, you're Alan Christian. I'm like, and I was told it's going to take you a few months to get this thing to start getting traction. But when it did, it was like Katie barred the door, because now it's almost created kind of a problem as I'm trying to scale out my team. But I try to just be very real and authentic with each one that I actually do. So Scott, was there one specific that you wanted me to jump into, or anything specific you want me to hit? Any questions on kind of direction?
Well, a couple of things before we jump into that. Could you lay out the timeline a little bit more? Because most people will not sit down and do 53 videos in one day to power through the learning curve.
Right.
So your timeline to creating that positive feedback loop based on what you're doing, because that's the challenge with video and any content creation, is the feedback loop that you get from that sometimes is delayed. And so we kind of think, well, maybe it's not working. Maybe nobody's listening or hearing what we're doing. So what did the timeline look like?
This was the drug that pulled me in. Those videos that I sent out were messages of encouragement, promotion, thanks, gratitude of, hey, I mean, literally, I just pulled up a list of people that meant something to me. And I did this strategically because I needed some feedback. When I hit that first video, and the first one I sent out, I keyed up. I just shot it and I keyed it up, and I literally for like 3 days, I never hit the go button to send it. So I was frozen. But when I did those videos, the feedback that I got was when I sent all these out to people and just said, hey, some of them was like me sending one to Carl for your birthday. I sent a message for somebody's birthday. I sent a message to somebody and said, hey, I've not ever told you this. You have made a positive impact in my life. I appreciate just being your friend, you being in my circle of life, and you mean a lot to me. I just wanted to tell you that. You do that to 10 people, you're probably going to have 7 of them call you back, immediately respond back. I had somebody literally respond that they were crying because they had just not had anybody reach out like that to make a difference for them. And for whatever reason, that day in their life, it made a huge impact. So my feedback on that was actually really quick and really fast for me to have the confidence that this actually makes a difference for somebody. So they were not about business. They were about, hey, you just matter to me. And because nobody had ever done it to them before, not sent them a video like that. So
hey, Alan, let me stop you for just a second.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure everybody caught what you just said, brother. You absolutely have nailed that. It's okay to do videos about business. It's good to do videos about business, right? Yeah. It is. I'm not saying not to do that, because I do videos about business. I know Scott and Frazier and Jen, right? It's all good, right?
Right.
I saw a stat the other day. This is probably about 3 weeks ago now that has just really impacted me on the way I do things. And this might sound like totally unrelated, but it's not. It said that 74% of all adult men were never told "I love you" by their father. Let me say that again. 74% of all adult men were never told "I love you" by their father. And so when we send these messages out, and by the way, we're not blowing smoke up somebody's skirt by saying
No
it's
way.
like,
No way.
I told Ginger and Frazier and you and Scott that you guys matter to me, and each of you in different levels I've learned from for sure. That I'm not just saying that, like I really mean it. And when you reach out and you touch somebody, you say you matter, you are likely filling a hole in their soul that 74% of all, and I would guess the women are the same, but this report was about men. And so when we let somebody know that they're important, when we call realtors and talk to them about just talking about them instead of what I can do for you,
Right.
it is massively impactful. So good for you, brother. Outstanding.
Well, and that's my 3 words of somebody said yesterday on a post, what's 3 words that define you? And when every video I do, everything I talk about is being real, raw, and honest about who you are. So there's not one thing I do that is a commercial. I see people that do tons of video, lots of videos, and it's just a commercial. My videos that go out, they are truly heartfelt. And when I say I've had people, and Carl, you hit it right on the head. I had a friend commit suicide, and it rocked my world. And I remember a friend one day in the parking lot stopped and said, "Hey, Alan, how you doing?" And I basically just, "Oh, it's all great. Everything's wonderful." Then he paused and said, "No, how are you doing?" And I started crying in the parking lot because somebody had really reached into my soul and said, "What's going on?" So when I send these videos, they are not commercials. They are truly heartfelt. And that's the thing, when I send them out, I don't need to go back and watch them. I don't need to edit them. I don't need to do anything because I'm talking directly to them. And if there's any magic that I've gotten, that's what I'm good at. When I send it out, it's real. And if you send out a message like that, they know it. And you made a difference for them, and you're going to get positive responses back. And when I got one person that reached out and said, "Man, I needed that today," that was my hook to realize this can make a difference for people. And if I can make a difference to make them feel good about themselves and that they feel important and needed and valued, guess what? They're going to think about me for whatever business related item comes up. So those are the things that really started. So my feedback came really fast. And that's why I challenge everybody the very first day, just send these out and tell them how important they are. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to reach back and say, "You know what? You mean a lot to me, and I've never told you that, and thank you." And then all of a sudden you're all right, this makes a difference. I can do this.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that you said, Alan, early on is when you made the video, you made it for one person.
Correct.
And I think that is so critical, because oftentimes when people are making videos, they're thinking of a very broad audience.
Right.
And when someone's watching a video, it's just one person. It's one person watching that video. So in doing that video, that they feel like you're talking specifically to them, just like you're having a conversation, whether it's at the Kiwanis Club or the Chamber or having a cup of coffee with someone. When you make a video, and it comes across as that authentic and raw, that you're talking just to that one person, and they feel that. And so when you are making those videos, I think that is so important to be able to do that.
Right.
Well, and even if you're not making a video for a specific person, it's still a one-to-one message, even if it's a one-to-many platform.
Exactly.
And that's so super powerful.
Yeah. So we have a question in real quick. Andrew Vieira is asking for Alan. Were you sending, when you started doing this, were you sending the videos out through BombBomb? Was that the platform you were using?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So Andrew, yes.
And the reason is, it's just I played with YouTube and Vimeo and all this other stuff. BombBomb is just so unbelievably simple. You can literally sign up for it and get rolling like right away. Just don't overthink it. But yes, that's what I was using, and still am to this day.
So yeah, I did want to talk about a specific post that you did, Alan. I mean, I saw quite a few of your posts, and they get a lot of traction. But one that was business-like, but it wasn't a promotional video, but you were addressing the the challenge that anybody has right now trying to buy new construction, and of fluctuating costs while in contract. Was that the general idea? And anybody trying to buy new construction, you recognize this opportunity and you shot a video on it. Why don't you kind of walk us through that and maybe even show us what happened, because that thing really got crazy amount of attention. Yeah. And like we had mentioned before we logged on here, that I think probably got as much attention and was as impactful and powerful for consumers as it was for professionals. And I think it's just a perfect example of how to use your genuine self and your experience and not having to overthink it.
Right. Well, and Scott, you said this, I have no lack of content. I could send out 10 videos a day of value. I literally hold back from doing it. But, what's your sent box? That's your content. What are the conversations you had on the phone with a client? What are the things you hung with the phone and you had to sit there and think for 30 seconds, like, gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Is this for real? That's your content. So I've got a client that we've been working with for a solid year, and he called and said, we're 3 weeks out from closing, and the builder just called and terminated my contract. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, they have not been following their books, and they realized because of building costs during COVID, they're upside down like $80,000 on this house. And there's a very small clause in that contract that they can terminate for any reason and just give them the earnest money and they're out. And that is exactly what they did. And so I sat in my office, and the funny thing is the house is literally like 5 miles from my office. And I thought, this is just I can't believe it. So people need to know this. I didn't know this. I called a couple of builder friends of mine and asked about what the clause was, what's happening in the market, what are they seeing? Most people had never heard of this and didn't even know it was available, or rather could be done in a contract. So yeah, that's content. So I just got in the car. I just got up from my desk and said, let's roll. And I drove right up to the subdivision. I found that, and it's the actual house. I found the house, jumped out. And here's the preparation that I did. I got out of my car, stuck my phone on my little tripod, and I put my little lavalier mic on, and I hit record, and that was all I did. And I walked through the house. I think the only thing I did, it may have been through Headliner or something, I put a little bit of text in it, and we posted that on Facebook and, like LinkedIn and YouTube and stuff. And we got like crazy traction. Realtors calling left and right. I can make the next 90 days of business and set my next year up just from the comments from the folks that have seen it. And I could do so much more with it, but that was my whole prep. So, do you want me to pull that up and just show it?
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah, we would love to. And I have a quick,
yeah.
And I have a quick question. So that wasn't live, right? Did you just recorded it to your phone? And then
Yeah. You know why? I don't know how to do live. As silly as, how did he pull it up and shoot? I know I am so unbelievably good at about 4% of this, but there's so many other things I've not learned. But that should make people feel comfortable. I'm not that sharp. I have figured out how to hit record and go. So no, I grabbed it on my phone.
I love that.
I did record it on my phone. And when I came back in, I uploaded it and compressed it, a couple of small, like nothing. So it was nothing, but here's my phone, saved it, and then came back in, and that was it. So let me jump on and do a screen share.
You got it?
Yep. Let me pull this over. I'll make sure y'all can see this. And y'all tell me, can you see my screen now?
No.
Okay.
I think you have to give me your credit card for that to work. So if
I know.
If you'll just read it to me real quick.
No, Carl, you're wrong. It's the social. We need a social security.
Your social credit card with social.
Can you see it now?
Let me add it.
There we go. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I went in and posted this. I did go in.
Okay, no, wait. This is totally unfair. We can't use as an example. You look so cool with that hat on. I'm not even going to cry.
And the shades.
Appreciate
and
it.
shades.
And the shit. I'm like, well, of course, that video is going to get a lot of traction, right?
So let me, so literally all I did is I shot it and I simply uploaded it. I did go in and I tagged a bunch of people because I wanted to show up in their feeds so their people see it. So I went and pulled a bunch of folks up that I know. I did go in, and as you'll see, I put a little bit of text on it.
I'm going to back you up a little bit.
Please.
So go back up.
Yep.
So number one, so those of you who are following this, number one, he took action first and foremost. Okay. He didn't wait. He didn't think about it. He's like, oh my God, I need to get a videographer. I need to think about what I'm saying. He got in the car. He drove there. And even if you can't do that, you can still take action. And he put on his lab, so equipment, simple things, right?
Yep.
And then you shot it. You didn't add a lot of text to it. It was very simple, very raw, and that's one of the things I love. And then what you put in there is what's specific as far as, so you're getting, and this is a thing to think about in your videos too, is involving people. So part of what you put in here is what could possibly go wrong. So you're asking that question, right?
Correct.
And people are always intrigued, right? That it's like, what could possibly, well, tell me. What did go wrong? And so, what are your thoughts? So the other thing I love about this is you keyed it up. You put it up to where it's like, what could go wrong? It's like, I don't know what happened. What did go wrong? And then you involve them. So one of the things too, when you're doing video is think how you can involve them in the process. And you did that in the post, which is really good. So what are your thoughts? So when you're doing your posts and you're adding this onto social media, add some of that dialogue and ask people for that. So that is the key. And then tagging others. So obviously you want to be careful about that. But if it's something like this, it's like, yeah, because you're going to be able to share it. So you tagged about 43 influencers that you thought would want to know about this. And that's the thing. So you're adding value. You're asking them what their thoughts are. So you're engaging them. How many comments did you get?
On this one, 35 comments.
35 comments.
In 5 shares.
And but that's big. So look at that. So again, what could possibly happen? What are your thoughts? Those shares are gold. So the comments are people that are involved.
65 engagements. Here's the rule of thumb on comments. Most people don't leave comments.
Correct.
Usually people will leave comments if they're upset or if they're complaining. So when you get a comment, when you get engagement, that represents an exponentially larger number of people that are very, very interested in this, but were afraid to speak up or say something. So even 1 or 2 pieces of content or 1 or 2 comments on a post means that there's a lot of people that are seeing it, that are being impacted by it, but you're just not hearing from them.
Right. And the shares are equally powerful because those are people that took action, that they took action to actually share that in with their community. So very, very powerful. Okay. Can we see the video?
Absolutely. Tell me if it should be playing sound.
Yeah, we're not hearing.
Under construction.
Oh, there it is.
COVID hits. Building construction costs go through the roof during construction time.
Yes.
What happens? Do you know? Let me just tell you, I had this happen for the very first time. Never heard of this before. Everybody thinks, hey, Alan, I'm under contract. What could possibly go wrong? Everything's totally fine with my house. No big deal. Let me tell you a story because y'all need to hear this. Truly, I've never had this happen before. I'm going to walk through this new construction because it's just kind of a fun thing.
So there's your call out. So that's
a story. Imagine you and your wife and your 2 kids, and maybe your mama. You're moving your business to Atlanta, taking a new position in Atlanta, and you move your family down here. You find a rock star realtor. You find a house. You go under contract to have it built, and it takes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months to have a really nice home built. And during that time frame, what happens if lumber costs triple? What happens if materials go out of supply? What happens if they can't get labor? What happens to that original price that you agreed to, and then all of a sudden things change? Let me just tell you what I just had happen. First time ever. I can't believe it's allowed. We're about 4 weeks out from closing. This family, literally, they moved down here. They moved to a corporate apartment. Then they had to move into a different location, waiting for the house done. The house has literally been built for them. They came in and they picked out the cabinets, the countertops, the flooring, the everything. We're about 4 weeks away. And I got a phone call that the agent for the subdivision called and said that the builder said they got with their investor and that they were upside down about $60,000 in the house on the build, and they terminated the contract. Think about that. They moved their family, they sold their home, they're down here, they're weeks before closing. I've never heard of that before. I didn't even know it was allowed. And they pulled up the contract, and there's actually a clause in there related to if the seller does not perform, that they can simply return their earnest money, no harm, no foul, and they're out. And here's why. Here's what's happening with that. Yeah, materials went through the roof during the time frame. So what's going to happen is the builder is probably going to terminate this contract, put the house right back on the market, and sell it at top dollar. Do you think that's right? In my mind, what I would do, and I've talked to some other friends of mine that are custom builders, they had literally built into their contract I don't know if it was an escalation or materials, something to do with the economy. There's some material changes that take place during the construction phase that they can come back in, negotiate any of that, kind of be on the same page, working together to get that worked out. This person, this builder, didn't even come back and offer anything. They just terminated, didn't even give them a number and say, hey, pay the difference. Just literally walked out. I have never heard of that before. I've seen a lot of crazy things taking place in the industry. So people think, I'm under contract. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it happened. And you know what? I had a realtor on the phone crying, talking to me, because you know what? It's not about the house. It's not about the transaction. It's about a family. It's about their kids. It's about, dreams being shaken. They're going to have to stay where they are. What's the next plan? I don't know. But this is one part of what I do that's kind of crazy. So when you think, oh, I'm under contract, no worries. You better be sure you've got an unbelievable realtor in your back pocket. You better be sure you've got somebody like me helping you with financing to work through it. And you have the wherewithal to make good decisions and kind of navigate. Where are we going to be tomorrow with this? I have no idea. I will update you. But I just had to tell you, crazy things happen. It's a crazy time right now in every industry. And even in the housing market, we run into the exact same thing as well. So, hey, if you've got any questions, anything that I can help you with, any feedback on this, I'd love to hear what your opinions are. I'm Alan Christian, your friend, your neighbor, your lender. Hope you have an awesome day. See you soon.
I'll tell you that one of the things that I love about that is that story. You could have overheard that story if Alan and Frazier were sitting in a bar after work that day. You could have heard him tell that story exactly that same way, except for the part where you're talking about you. But really, just like, I can't believe this just happened to me. This happened to this family. That storytelling aspect of it was just brilliant. And I think that's part of the not overthinking it part, is you're not trying to turn that message into a publicly consumable PSA. You're just telling a story about a situation that you ran into today. And if you're in this business, you have one to 5 of those stories every single day.
That's the truth.
Right? Right. So that was fantastic.
I called a builder friend of mine and asked the question. And I literally thought, gosh, I should have had that conversation recorded. That's what I wanted to share. I thought, God, this should be a podcast. It should be whatever. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to go do it, because there's no lack of content for what we do. And people do want to hear it, but that was not an advertisement. That was not a commercial. This is what's going on. And you wonder who's looking at that. More people than you know.
Yeah. So you shared that on Facebook. What else have you done with that video, Alan?
My marketing girl, I think we put a few photos and things on Instagram, put it on LinkedIn, and everything I've done at this stage is really just Facebook. Okay. We just have started doing YouTube, but I had like 800 views on Facebook and I had like 10,000 on one of them on LinkedIn. I'm like, I didn't know she put it there. So, and I could put that on 15 different social media realtor sites in my community where I am. There's so many things that could be done off that one video. My whole career could be built off that video from just.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much you can do. I mean, and you think about that, and I love the fact you're like, first of all, shooting 53 videos in one day is like, whew, major.
Yeah.
But there are so many things that we can talk about in the industry. And just on that one topic alone, just talking about, new construction and buying a home, or, the perils of buying during COVID. I mean, the market that we're in right now. I mean, you could honestly start an entire show, and yes, jumpstart into a whole nother thing based around that. And so being open to ideas is critical. And so if you have a thought about something for an idea for a video, Carl hopped off, I guess, take action and run with it. And that's the thing that I love about you. And that raw essence is saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Oh, Carl's back. We lost you and you're back.
Something about paying the electric bill. I'm not really sure. There was one more thing, just real quick, I wanted to bring to the attention on that video. Man, that was some really good stuff there, Alan. The other thing, Scott, I love what you said about the story selling. Man, dead on, and it's great. But the other thing that you did there, and I think it I don't know, you might have done it on purpose. It might have been on accident, where you took me on a journey. Now, when you took me on this journey, like we started outside and then we moved inside. And I know this is going to sound funny to a lot of people, but there's something psychological that happens when we go walking with them. They get in our car, they go for a drive with us, like some sort of motion in the video. It's kind of, here, come with me, come join me. And it's this, so they tell me, it's this ninja, like NLP stuff, that you're going on a journey with me, so that you're coming along with me. And now you're part of my business, and we're part of each other. Here, let's go on this journey together. And so anytime you can put movement into a video like that, that's some really powerful stuff. So well done, buddy.
Thank you, Carl.
And that's a great observation, Carl, because it creates like an intimacy, right? It makes you feel like you're going along on this journey, not only through the story.
I was walking with him, man. I was like, yeah. Well, I'm tagging along. Tell me more. So yeah.
And that meant more actually going to the location at the house, seeing it under construction, than if you would have just sat and done that in your office.
Oh my gosh.
And so sometimes I think people, they don't want to take that extra effort, but taking that one extra effort, grabbing, and use your phone. Everybody has a phone. You can do it on your phone. You had a lavalier mic. And you know what? I can drop some links into the panel. There's a wonderful, I know, Scott, you've got some that you use. I use a Rode wireless lavalier mic. You just plug it into your phone. You just have your standard. Yeah, there's your Rode. So you have just that. You can use that. I use that one too. And if you want to go one step further, you can get a gimbal. So it's going to get rid of the shakiness as far as that. But that shows the authentic part of it. You don't have to have all of that.
I have a gimbal, and I did have somebody complain, Alan, your video is a little shaky or whatever. I'm like, here's what I want everybody to understand. It does not have to be perfect. The one that's more, as I say, more real and authentic. Yeah, it could have been a little more polished. They want to feel like they're right there with you, as Carl said. So sometimes when it's a truly polished, and it's a polished videographer video, they realize, hey, this is kind of commercial.
I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
They like it a little bit better.
Yeah. I think the only thing really that is most important is to have good audio. So you have to have good audio.
Amen to that. Yep.
They'll forgive the lighting, they'll forgive the shaky, but if they can't hear it, then it's going to be a problem. And honestly, if you don't have a mic, what you use as far as your earbuds, whatever, is totally fine too. So, it's like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have the microphone. You don't have to have all the fancy stuff. You don't have to have the gimbal. You do have to have something to be able to hold your phone, unless you have a really long arm. And that's it. Or somebody can bring somebody along, throw somebody in the car. But the fact of going to that location, I think, was instrumental in that story. So hats off to you for doing that. Okay, so you know what, guys? We are well beyond our 30
Before
minutes.
we go,
Okay.
Before we go, there is one thing that you must have.
Oh,
You must have.
I love it.
Ginger's so freaking humble. It pisses me off
Dude, you're
sometimes.
so good at that, Carl.
I'm going to owe you so much in royalties.
You absolutely. And there's a reason why I didn't have to go far to grab the book. It's like right here. This thing is just killer. Like on What Do I Say? She's got 52 different topics of exactly what to say. Just really killer stuff. So Edu Marketing Mortgage Video Planner by Ginger Bell is absolutely fantastic. So at my mastermind group we had here in Salt Lake City, we handed out 250 copies to the people that were there. That I paid for, and it's just absolutely killer information. So I couldn't recommend this any stronger. All the cool people have one. So
It's not within arm's reach, but I have
really good stuff.
Alan will have to get you a copy. So Carl, you're going to love this.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, I was in San Diego, and I was with our good friend Andrew Vieira, who's probably listening, and we shot a bunch of live video. So I wanted to shoot live video. So that was our first one. We did a 7-minute documentary we're producing for him. But while I was there, I wrote 52 video prompts on VA. So my next one is going to be, and we're going to work on producing that in the next couple months, is 52. So one a week on VA. So if you're doing a lot of VA home loans, then, being able to come up with that. And that's the whole reason. So guys, that's the reason that we started this Mortgage Video Mastermind group, is to facilitate the conversation of video, getting people on like Alan, who is a rock star, who has taken action and said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to find the stories, and the stories come to you. I mean, that's the whole thing. The stories come to you. So, being able to do that. And so, Alan, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, one last thing.
Thank you for what you do.
So on the book, do they go to Amazon or do they go to edumarketing.com? No, we didn't tell them how to get it.
Amazon.
I'll have all these people reaching out. How do I get the book?
Go to Amazon, Edu Marketing Video Mortgage Planner, or you can go to edumarketing.com. Yes, either one of those work.
Or you could go to one of Carl's events.
That's right.
We hand them out. Right.
Which the next one is in.
Or one of mine.
So Frazier, what I found out is when I hand out like her cool stuff, and it makes me look really, really smart. So it's funny how that works.
That's right.
I do the thing. Do the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, so let me tell you. So we'll do a couple of things, and this is, and I love this. Guys, it takes a village, right?
It does.
And you guys are all fabulous and wonderful, and that's what this is all about: is working together to help the betterment of our industry. And so we're working on. Scott and I are planning on something we're going to do really special in Denver. That's going to be in October, and we're creating a content creators
Sign me up. Yeah.
And so it's going to be a weekend event. HomeBot's already on board. They're going to host it at their location, and we're going to go to some cool places. Our goal is to work together to create a community, helping each other to come up with content and to do the things just like what you're doing, Alan, to be able to share that. And so, it's like if we all, work together and help each other, we can improve what's happening and to keep the consumers out of call centers, which is so important to be able to keep them at the local where people can help on this builder shit that's going on. Yeah. Okay, any closing remarks?
Well, you talk about doing something special in Denver. Last time I was in Denver, I did something special, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. So, I'm just kidding.
For a reason.
Yeah. It's a great place to hold an event because it's like right in the middle of the country, and it's nonstop. Almost every airport goes nonstop to Denver for. Because right in the middle of the country. So outstanding location.
Yeah. Looking forward. We're excited because we're talking about, this is not just going to be get together and then disperse. We're going to honestly being together. We're going to eat together. We're going to plan together. We're going to do videos together. It truly is creating a network, and it's something I'm super excited about. So we'll have some more information coming soon. Andrew Vieira says the redneck teleprompter is a bomb, which, by the way, Carl, he used that several times when we were taping.
Were you the redneck teleprompter in that?
I can't even see that. What is that?
The
Oh, you're
redneck
seeing
teleprompter.
This is the best.
Oh
We
my
have-
God.
The person holding the camera has a whiteboard or a sign on their chest, and that's your teleprompter.
It's a
That
redneck.
is-
While they take doing my video, they're wearing this around their neck, and it's got my bullet points on it. So it looks like I'm looking at the camera, but I'm really reading my bullet points on the teleprompter. And Ginger was kind enough to make this up for me. So
Awesome.
Yeah. I have the URL redneck teleprompter, so we got to do something about that, Carl.
I like that. I like that. Well, see, that'll be something that you guys can share at this event that you guys.
We will definitely work on that.
Yeah.
Okay, boys, thank you so much. Blessings to all of you.
Thanks,
You
y'all.
are amazing. Thanks for all you do. And now go out and make a video.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.